Well, it's absolutely freezing cold out there. Although it's the end of April. The wind is straight from the north, and now it's started raining, so the prospects for fishing aren't very inviting. So there are millions of people in this country who live on their own, and just cooking for yourself is not a particularly inviting prospect, especially as you have to buy more ingredients than you need, and I suspect single people throw out more food than almost anybody else. It's much easier just to go and buy yourself a meal from one off the shelf, but it can be expensive. The easiest way around this is to cook stuff in batches and stick it in the freezer. And the simplest of these I've found is lasagne. It's an absolute doll. One of the things about recipes, when you look them up in books or you get them in magazines or you see them on the TV, and it says it only takes half an hour to cook. Well, it might, but it probably takes you 2 days to get all the ingredients together. And then again, you end up with some ingredients which you're never going to use again. And I've got stuff in the cupboard here from years ago with all kinds of fancy names, mainly to do with cooking, Far Eastern cooking. Stuff like galangal and shrimp paste, which really wants thrown in the bin, having only used probably a tiny portion of it. But this is a very simple lasagne recipe which uses up everything, and it makes 8 portions of lasagne. It freezes really well. So I'm going to make that today, and while I'm making it I'll video it to show you what I do, then you can just take it from there if you want. So there's all the ingredients laid out there. There's a pint of milk. Doesn't matter, semi-skimmed or full fat milk, it doesn't really matter. There's some mushrooms. I like the brown mushrooms, they're much firmer, have a nicer texture to them. There's 2 good sized onions. There's 500 grams or a pound of mince. There's some red Leicester cheese, 2 tins of chopped tomatoes, lasagne, butter, plain flour, and 2 beef stock cubes and a garlic bulb. And that's it. So I just need to chop the onions. The one thing you do need for this job is a decent sized pan to get it all in. This is one I've had for ages. So I just need a splash of oil in there, and very slowly sweat down the onions until they're soft. So there's the oil in. I don't know how much it is and all that. You don't want too much. And the other thing you don't want to do is you don't want to burn the onions. There's nothing worse. So just turn that down, so it's on a low heat. And put the lid on. Yeah. Now I need to prepare the garlic. How much garlic you put in depends on how much you like the stuff. I like it quite a lot, so I put the whole lot of this in. So I just need to break that up into the individual sort of cloves and these things, which I'll do now. The easiest way to get the skin off is to top and tail them and then squash them with a knife. So just top and tail it. And just hit it. You don't have to hit it too hard. And the skin just comes off very easily. That's one done. Yeah. Nothing really complicated about it, and I'll just finish the rest off. So I just keep my eye on the onions while I need then to chop some mushrooms. Again, how many you put in is down to you. How much do you like them? Now you can peel them or just chop them up as they are, it doesn't matter. I tend just to chop the ends of the stalks off and then just chop them up. So I'll just take the end off that. obviously if there's any dirt on them, you want to brush it off. You should never wash mushrooms. So that's them chopped and ready to go in with the onions. So just leave those cooking very slowly. You just put the lid on. This is the dish which I cook the lasagna in it. One of the things when you get lasagna occasionally, you get a piece which is like cardboard, which seems to have been uncooked, or perhaps cooked too much. Now, to avoid that, you can soak the lasagna first, and I do it in this dish. And I need enough lasagna to make 2 layers of this dish. So there's 4 pieces of lasagna, which more or less does 1 layer. So I need another 4 pieces and then an extra bit, and just to fill in gaps later on. Now, to prevent that cardboard lasagna which you occasionally get, I add a little bit of water and oil and soak this whilst I'm cooking the rest of the lasagna. So you just need a splash of oil in there. That'll do. I just cover it up with boiling water or hot water, hot kettle. And I just leave that to soak now until I need it. Checking every now and then that it doesn't stick together. If it sticks together, then it can be a bit of a mess. So I just come back and check it every now and then and just make sure all the pieces are separate from one another. Otherwise you get hard lumps in it, which you don't want. So I just need to take my beef stock cubes, just crumble it up into that jug. And then just mix them up with a little water from the kettle. millilitres, or well, half a pint. Just give it, stir around with a fork, and then just leave them to one side till I need them. You buy cheap mince, you get too much fat in it, so I always buy lean steak mince. It's a bit more expensive, but you end up with a better product at the end. And I just slice this across so that I can break it up easily before I put it in the pan. So there you can see the onions are nice and soft now. See, squeeze them with your fingers. And I need to put the mince in now and brown it. So I just break it up with my fingers. You don't want any big lumps. So just crumble it into the pan. Need to turn the heat up a little bit and give it a good stir around. And while that's diddling away, I put the garlic in. Ideally you need one of these, a garlic crusher, but if you haven't got one, just bash it with a knife on the board and then scrape it in, squash it flat. So there's the garlic all crushed, and I'll just mix that in. You don't want too much heat on, otherwise it all will dry out. So now you can see that the mince is more or less browned off. And at this point we need to add the tins of tomatoes and the beef stock. So that's the tomatoes in. Just mix them up. A real garlicky smell now. And at this point, if you want to enrich the tomato taste to it, you can add a great squirt of tomato puree, but it's not necessary. It comes in tubes like toothpaste. I'll just put a big squirt in there. I might as well use all this up anyway, it's finished. That will do. So you can see that tomato puree there. I'll just mix that in. And then I need to put in the beef stock. At this point I just need to season it. You don't really look at this, I like quite a lot of salt. And a little bit of pepper. And if you want a sort of Mediterranean flavour, you can stick some of this in. Now, I pronounce it oregano, but I've heard people call it oregano. Whatever it says on the front of that jar, anyway. That's you can put some of that in. I'm not a great lover of it, so I don't add it at all. But it just gives it that Italian flavour, if that's what you're looking for. You just sprinkle it on the top, however much you want, however much you like the stuff. And at this point, you just leave it to simmer without the lid. You don't need the lid on. Just leave it to simmer for about half an hour till it's the right consistency. You don't want it to dry out, otherwise it'll burn the blooming stuff after you've got to all this trouble. So we'll just leave that simmering for half to 3/4 of an hour until it's the right consistency. And in the meantime, we have to prepare the cheese sauce. But before I do that, I'll just go and check that these pieces of lasagne aren't sticking together. seems to be alright. For the cheese sauce I use red Leicester. It has a nice taste, I find, and of course it gives it a nice colour as well. So I just need to grate. There's a 200 grams of here. You can use more if you want a stronger cheese sauce, but you need plenty of cheese sauce for 8 portions, which is what you get with this recipe. So I just need to grate the cheese. Oh, there it is. That's it done. And there you can see the minced ingredients all simmering away. We've been going for about 10 minutes now. Still far too much water in there. End up with a right sloppy lasagne, which you don't really want. Although it tastes just as nice as. This is the crunch bit, the cheese sauce. It's essentially milk and flour mixed, but unfortunately if you just add flour to milk it doesn't mix very well at all. It separates and ends up with some dreadful goo. So what you have to do is you have to incorporate the flour into some butter to begin with and form what's called a roux, some French name. So to start with, I've got this pack here. It's Lurpak lighted. I mean, you can just use ordinary butter, but this is just a mixture of sort of butter and oil really. It's supposed to be more healthy, but I'm not sure it is. And I take about a third of it, about that much. How many grams that is, I have no idea. I'll take that out there, but as I say, about a third, and put it in this pan. As I say, I need a lot of cheese sauce for this recipe. So there you can see how much I've taken out of there in the pan, and I just slowly melt it. Again, I don't want to burn this, so just on a low heat, just melt it slowly. I mean, the whole pack of butter is 500 grams. I would imagine there's about 200 grams in there, which might seem an awful lot. Now once it's melted, I add flour and stir it in, and I add it a little bit at a time. So that's a dessert spoon. In fact, it's not a tablespoon. Just stir it in. So there's 2 tablespoons gone in. and that'll be enough. Now I add the milk, and you've got to stir this all the time, otherwise you just end up with lumpy cheese sauce. So I don't put it all in at once. And you just have to be patient. If you're not patient, you'll end up with... As it gets warm, you'll feel it becomes gradually stiffens, and then you need to add some more milk. I want quite a runny sauce before I put the cheese in. Yeah, I can feel it now. You can see it there beginning to thicken up. So I just put some more milk in. I may need more than a pint. You just have to have a sort of milk on standby. Because if it goes really thick and you've got no more milk left, then you're stuffed. So you can see it's quite... it doesn't seem to have any big lumps in at all. Looks quite nice. Thickening up again, so I just need some more milk in. If you walk away from this and do something else when you come back, it'll be like thick porridge. And there's no way of recovering. You have to go back and start again. Well, that doesn't look too bad. I don't need it quite yet, so I'll just put a lid on. If I don't put a lid on, you end up with a sort of skin on the top, which I don't want. Just got a lid on. You don't put the cheese in until the end. Time the minced concoction is diddling away very nicely there, but it's still got too much water in. Well, the minced concoction's been diddling away for about 3/4 of an hour. The timing of this is not very precise, because it depends on how much water there was in your tomatoes. I tend to find tin tomatoes, the amount of water in each tin varies depending on which make you get. So when it's ready, when I just push that across the pan, you'll see you can see the bottom of the pan. The liquid doesn't rush into it, so it's a nice consistency now. So that's ready. So I just put that to one side and come back to the sauce. So while it's been standing, it's thickened up a little bit. So I need to put some more milk in. So I just use up the whole of that pint and just stir that in. I want a thin sauce. When I put the cheese in, it doesn't want to be too thick, because it has to go in the oven after this. And the other thing you don't want to do is boil it. So just heat it gently. So there you can see the consistency of the sauce. It's quite thin. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to have any big lumps in it. And I'll just add the cheese, but turn the heat off first. Don't add the cheese to the sauce whilst you're heating it. So turn the heat down, or turn it off. And then I add the cheese. Just stir it in, and the heat of the sauce will melt it.